What are homosexuals doing now that they weren't doing thousands of years ago? Why do people get their knickers in a twist when they find out someone is homosexual or they're lesbian? Don't they realize that homosexuality in the human history is as common as the cold? I've actually got some books on the histories of homosexuality. From Achilles to Alexander the Greek to many celebrities or to people in our societies now, they've been either gay, lesbians, bisexuals, and so on and so forth. So why does this make you jump? Why does this make you get so frustrated and angry to find out someone is laying down with the same sex as them? Don't you have any idea of your history? Don't you realize that when men used to go to war, they used to campaign for many years? If there was no women about, what do you think they turned to? What do you think the women that were at home waiting for their husbands to come, what do you think they turned to? Occasional sleeping with young boys and girls. And when we speak about your religious institutions, such as Islam or Christianity, what do you think the priests were doing to the young boys? And what do you think was going on in a nunnery? Do you think that all of these people that claim to be pious somehow lost a taste for human flesh just because they were in some sort of institution that said they mustn't give in to the ways of the flesh? The reason why I say that is because you've got to understand that language is nothing more than symbology, to the point where you have binary code, ones and zeros, just like you have the female anatomy, which is represented by a zero or O, a circle, an oval, and the male phallic symbol as a Cleopatra's needle or a obelisk, a phallic symbol standing erect. Biblically, you might refer to as Jachem and Boaz, or the woman's anatomy, the holies of the holies. Now, if this is symbology on and off and on, then wouldn't you think of thinking that if a man is really homosexual, why is he partaking in an act that is actually heterosexual in nature? For a man to be homosexual, he would not allow another man to penetrate him, or he will not penetrate another man. For a lesbian to be 101% lesbian, she would not be participating in strap-ons and dildos, double-ended dildos, and so on and so forth. Because if you're a true lesbian, if you're a true homosexual, you will stick to the rules of the calling. And that is no penetration. Because from once you've penetrated somebody, you are doing the age-old dance of heterosexuality. Look at the symbology of it. I know you might not like the sound of this, but this is what it is. Moving on. As a young child at the age of 12, I was perplexed by a scene I saw of two of my supposed friends. Now, homosexuality wasn't something in my mind back then, even though I used to tell a lot of women I was gay at that age, because I didn't want to hurt their feelings when they used to ask me out on a date. So I replied to them that I was an homosexual. I was one of the very few people to be doing this at the age of 12 or 13. But one day, around 8 p.m, I was with a couple of friends of mine back then, in an area called Seven Kings, Essex, Chadwell Heath, Romford. what I noticed was I was on a bike and I was talking to two of my friends, and one of them, 2 years older than me, because I was only 12 or 13 at the time, and he was speaking about how we have flavored condoms. Okay, we have flavored condoms. And he was telling our other friend that, look, this flavored condom actually tastes like blueberry Coca-Cola. And I looked at him and I thought, this is odd. Blueberry Coca-Cola. And how would you know this? And he said he knows this because he's sucked on it. He's actually sucked on a condom and it tasted of blueberry Coca-Cola. So I stood there perplexed and I was looking at him while he told us this. And just like magic, he reaches into his pocket and pulls out a condom. Blueberry Coca-Cola flavor. And he unwrapped it and started sucking the condom in front of me. And my other friend looked at him and like a happy little schoolboy, he said, does it taste like blueberry Coca-Cola? And the first friend gave it to him and he put his fingers in the condom just like if it was a penis and he started sucking it. And the joy, the elation of sucking this blueberry Coca-Cola flavored condom was just so, he was so enthralled by this, such a euphoric feeling that he offered me to suck this condom. I was so enraged that I said, I'm going home. I was angry. I could not be a party to such a thing because I thought men were men. I thought all the programs that we saw of James Bond 007, being a lover man, all of these films that we saw of these great Hollywood actors, being an archetype of a male, a Lothario. I thought these were how other young boys were. So for me to see two people that I liked sucking condoms was just not cricket for me. So I was off. Now, I'm seeing a pattern with this homosexual trend, which has been going on for a long time. I mean, back in the French Renaissance, you had the French kings, you had, rich people dressing in high heels with their stockings, with their weaves and their wigs and whatnot, with their lipstick. But men were still men there. Some of them were homosexual. This wasn't a big problem. But it's a major problem now. But I tell you who it's really a major problem for. It's for the spinsters that we still have around. Because what you women don't realize is that homosexuals do everything better than you. They wear high heels better than you and they don't complain about it. They know how to walk better than you. I can imagine when it comes to giving blowjobs, they'll also be better than you. Because unlike you, finding it a chore to fillet or to suck in your husband's penis, your boyfriend's penis, these men take pride into being skilled artists into doing such things. But the women that are not lesbians or the women that are not that way inclined, what are you going to do? Because a lot of you are giving birth at a tender age of 15 and even younger. So think about this. If you give birth at 15 to a boy, by the time you're 30, he's 15. And no forward-thinking man is going to want to be with a woman like the majority of the women. Miserable, depressing, don't know about finance, they don't know about, collective economics, they don't know about raising children. Because if they knew all of these things, they wouldn't have gotten themselves into that situation in the first place. But that's not your fault. But what I'm trying to say now, the trend of homosexual is so prevalent in our society that you have 5-year-old boys learning how to twerk and touching their toes. So what are you women going to do when you are 30 and the 20-year-old girl is no longer the flavor of the month for the majority of these men. Your 15-year-old boy is what they want. You're going to be in direct competition with your offspring. And it's not going to be your female offspring. It's going to be your male offspring. What are you going to do or say then? This is a glimpse into your future. And I hope you are ready for it. Because the trend was older men, young women. But you young women now, you haven't got much to offer. You women are acting like prima donnas, acting very bitchy, acting very bossy. No one's gonna want this. Look at the trends in Japan. More and more men are starting to say no, marriage is not for them. So the only men that you're gonna have left are the ones that have just come out of prison. What do you think they've been doing in prison also for all that time? These are the men that you're gonna have, and when they come out, they're not gonna want your deflated breasts. They're gonna want young and beautiful little boys that act like women, but are better than women. Because these guys can rock high-heeled shoes, stilettos, much better than you. And they know how to please a man.